Coming up towards 5 minutes after 7 o'clock in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, as we said, there's a lot going on in football from the Trinidad and Tobago context. Indeed, unpaid salaries. The coaches aired their concerns yesterday. There's a FIFA deadline to the TTFA executive. That's the deposed TTFA executive, or else there could be the possibility of sanction. The deadline has been given as September the 16th. You could understand why, because there's a FIFA Congress on the 18th. Even it might be suggested that there is no indication that the TTFA will be suspended come the 18th, but we'll have to wait and see. So a lot of issues on the table. Is it a price worth paying to stand your ground for what you feel to be an injustice meted out by FIFA, the duly elected executive of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association on November the 24th? Is it enough to say that, well, football in Trinidad and Tobago, the dreams and aspirations of tens of thousands of young people, those who are on scholarships all over the world, football scholarships, those who are playing the game all over the world, fulfilling their dreams, to have them dashed by this action? Is it enough to say, well, that's collateral damage in pursuit of a higher principle? Well, as I said, there are a lot of issues on the table when it comes to football in Trinidad and Tobago right now, which is why we are seeking the perspectives of two of the key personalities involved in this action. William Wallace, the deposed president of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. Keith Look Loy is the chairman of the TTFA's technical committee. I believe we have them with us, although not in video. We have them via audio. I think Keith Look Loy's video has just come on. But let me hear from the president, first of all, if I may. Even if we don't have the video, we have the audio. Very good morning to you, gentlemen. Good morning to you, William. Good to have you with us. You are getting... are you hearing us loud and clear, Mr. Wallace?
Okay. Hi.
It's Fazeer?
Yes. Are you hearing me loud and clear?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. I'm
okay.
having problems with the video, but
all right, we'll sort that out. We have you. We are live already. We are on air. So we will. The video issue is almost irrelevant. The issue is to hear what you have to say. You are being condemned for suggesting that Trinidad and Tobago being suspended or in some way being sanctioned because of this legal action, that you would have referred to this as collateral damage. Is that an irresponsible statement on your part to suggest that people being deprived of fulfilling their dreams of playing football and so on, maybe for a protracted period of time, is just collateral damage from your narrow point of view? What is your response to that? Good morning to you, first of all.
President, good morning to you, Fazeer, and President, good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. The word collateral damage, I don't know if those are my words. I can't recall using those words. And it is much more than that Fazeer. We have to sit down and look at football in Trinidad and Tobago. We have to evaluate where we are at. We cannot forget the past. We can't forget what happened and what brought us here. And it's from that point we have to start to move forward. Everybody is looking ahead of everything, speculating, making statements. For example, I want to say to me, well, the 10-year-olds in Trinidad and Tobago, if we are banned for 2 years, what happened to the 10-year-olds in Trinidad and Tobago? I said, well, they will be 12 years old after 2 years. And it's a good opportunity for our coaches to have 2 years to properly prepare players. These young men, so by the time they are 12, they would have spent a lot of time with coaches, well prepared, and so on. We have to evaluate football on a whole, and we can't take it out of context and look at it in a silo. And that is what is happening. It's everybody's a knee-jerk reaction to everything. We're going to get banned. Where is our football at this point in time? How many persons went out to play for clubs in Europe during the last 4 years? I mean, there are so many questions to be answered. But it's about the politics and about everything else. We have taken a position, and the position is based on what we know for sure was a political decision made by FIFA. We know that for sure. And as far as we are concerned, this cannot be justice. The principles of natural justice at least dictates that a man is supposed to be heard. We have never even gotten the chance to be heard. And that is what we are saying. We are asking, let us at least be heard. And at every instance possible, we have been blocked, we have been stopped. So, as far as I am concerned, that principle still remains.
Okay,
And
if you'd allow me to bring in...
That is where we are at this point in time.
All right, let me bring Keith Look Loy into the discussion right now, because Keith, you've been very adamant on this position. But could I ask you, at the risk of sounding repetitive, and I know you've heard this question many times, as much as you and William Wallace and others, Clynt Taylor, might be joining us in the course of our discussion as well, one of the vice presidents, as much as you will feel fully justified in standing your ground against the way FIFA does things, isn't the price of this pursuit of justice too high to pay for football in Trinidad and Tobago? Keith Look Loy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Keith. Good morning for you, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is a very pertinent question. Of course, we're not deaf to the national discourse on this issue. I myself represented Trinidad and Tobago. I know what that means. I got a scholarship. I know what that means. But there's many issues involved here, and the principle of it all hinges on the genesis of this normalization committee. Why it was sent in after 3 months in the life of the William Wallace administration. We have a view that we fully convinced, and other people as well, that this normalization committee is imposed to hide the sins of the last administration. I'm known as a blunt man, and in these sins, FIFA is complicit. So the President Wally is correct. We have never had or the officers have never had the chance to be heard, which is why the matter ended up in court. 7 attempts were made to have discussion with FIFA. They rejected all of them. They're not interested in dialogue, and they simply want to have their way. And this is not democracy. This is not natural justice, and it disrespects sovereignty of the courts and the parliament and the law of Trinidad and Tobago.
But Keith, I hear you on that. But isn't it disingenuous of you, William Wallace, and everyone else to be talking about these things? I don't think there's any issue about FIFA riding roughshod over you and others and so on, and whatever their agenda is, because we know what FIFA give. But the issue is, from the moment you sign up to being a member of the TTFA, you sign up to the way FIFA does things. So surely you can't be so naive to think that FIFA is going to now bow down to you and your cause and your case, which would appear to be justified, because when you sign on to being involved in the administration of football sanctioned by FIFA, you sign on to FIFA being the ultimate arbiter in this matter, who sets the rules, who sets the playing terms and conditions, and this is what you've signed on to, Keith Look Loy.
Yeah, that is one view of it. That is one argument. If that were the case, then we would still be living in a colonial society under the laws of the slave master. People come into the system and people change the system. No system is immutable, and this is what life and organizational life is about. At some point in time, people, Dr. Eric Williams and company, the early PNM, decided to stand up to what they had, quote unquote, signed on to, which was internal government. And before that, the British, we were a crown colony under the British, and people changed the system. If we adopt the attitude that this is what we signed up to and this is what we have to abide by, we would still be living under Moses' law.
And William Wallace, if I could come back to you on that regard. You mentioned that, people ask you, what will happen to the 10-year-olds? And you say, well, okay, in 2 years' time, they'll be 12. Doesn't that come across as very flippant? Doesn't that come across as, well, whatever has to happen will happen? And the argument can be put forward, William Wallace, is that you, Keith Look Loy, and others, you have had your time. You have had your time to play the game, to have dreams about reaching certain levels. You have had your time. And it's disingenuous of you now to be fighting your case, justifiably as it would appear, but at the risk of jeopardizing the careers and the dreams of tens of thousands of young people, that you don't have to pay the price of missing out on 2 years playing football because your time is gone, William Wallace.
Fazeer, I made a point. The first point I made is that, if we decide to look at the whole issue and just take pieces out and look at it in that way, then that assumption that you are making is correct. But I am saying that the picture is much larger than that. And I'm talking about we have to sit down and look at football in Trinidad and Tobago. We have not, for the last, as I said, 4 years, I'm backing up here a little bit. We have gone from maybe 50 or 60 something in the rankings to 100 plus. I mean, the football has been declining. So are you saying to me that our action is going to kill football in Trinidad and Tobago? When as far as we are concerned, football in Trinidad and Tobago was already there. What we are trying to do is to revive football in Trinidad and Tobago. And then this issue came up. And I just want to back up a bit to the previous question that you asked, and Keith made a very, very valid point on it. And I want to put that in the perspective of FIFA and us signing on to something. For the 33 plus countries where normalization took place, every single administration at that point in time was culpable for something. In other words, the administration in office at that time did something to warrant FIFA stepping in. From where we are sitting, we are paying for the sins of somebody else. I mean, and we have done what we were supposed to do. Trinidad and Tobago, we seem to have a short memory in this whole thing. People are saying that FIFA has rules and regulations, yes, and we follow those rules and regulations actually. We had an election that was properly constituted. FIFA was here when we had that election. They supervised it. And after this issue came up, we went to CAS as directed by FIFA. And at all terms, FIFA is the one who would have changed the rules as we go along. So where do we go from here? Accept that rules can be changed, and therefore sit down and just take that. And these are the issues.
Okay, let me bring in, because we're now joined by Clynt Taylor, who is also one of the vice presidents of the deposed administration, because from FIFA's point of view, they don't recognize William Wallace, Clynt Taylor, anybody else as being part of a TTFA executive. They deal with the normalization committee headed by Robert Haddad, who's accused you, William Wallace, by the way, of using the TTFA letterhead improperly. But we'll get to that in a moment, because we have a lot of ground to cover and very little time. Clynt Taylor, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. If I could ask you the question.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. If I could ask you the question.
Thank you very much.
How will you respond to those who will say, and I know it's not just about the senior men's national team, it's not just about national programs, it's about everything associated with football at all levels in Trinidad and Tobago. How would you respond to those who will say that if Trinidad and Tobago is suspended on the 18th of September and cannot play World Cup qualifiers next month, that on the road to Qatar 2022, that just that alone is too high a price to pay, because World Cup qualification brings sponsors, brings money, breathes some life into our football program. And if you are part of the team pursuing this action, will cause Trinidad and Tobago to be kicked out of World Cup qualification, is that a price worth paying, Clynt Taylor?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us on and for giving us the opportunity to have a say. First of all, I would like to say that our actions should not lead to Trinidad and Tobago being suspended in any way. We have to understand that there are rules that FIFA needs to be governed by. International rules that govern the running of associations, whether it is FIFA or any other bodies. And it is very strange that FIFA seem to be breaking any type of rules to come down very harshly on a nation like Trinidad and Tobago, a country that seems insignificant. However, we have made some stride in our governance, in what we have been doing since we came into office. The things that we have been able to accomplish since we came into office. And we realized that in the run-up to elections, there were a lot of talk that was taking place that if we won the elections, there would be a normalization committee. However, we kept in touch with FIFA. When we heard the rumors, we wrote them, we told them about what we heard. We presented to FIFA our plans to be able to deliver TTFA from a debt that we did not create. And we showed them who our sponsors were. We discussed with them how we were going to achieve this. We showed them that we had the ability to govern ourselves. We had the ability to do what we needed to do in order to get ourselves out of the debt. Lo and behold, even though FIFA assured us that there were no normalization talks or even a consideration of it, without even giving us the ability to govern ourselves, they came and they bought a normalization committee. And it's not just the way in which they bought it. They high-handedly came in and they removed us without the ability of even a conversation. When that was done, we contacted FIFA, as was reported, and over a period of 6 to 7 times, the president wrote himself personally after we had discussion. Through our attorneys, we wrote FIFA and we told them, let's sit and talk. Let us sit down and have a conversation about this. We made ourselves available to the normalization committee to even assist as we go along, because our idea is to allow the football to run. I can tell you personally that I don't even know what Mr. Hallett looks like. I've never received a call from him or anybody at his office. I've never received a call from anybody from the normalization committee saying that they need assistance with anything, because we are prepared and always will be prepared to move football forward. However, our actions is not causing the demise of football in any way. What we are doing is one thing, standing up for something that is just. And I'll just say this quickly, because I know time is limited. It was said to me by an individual, a supporter that called me. A husband and a wife is having a problem. And even though the husband is taking care of the wife and taking care of all the wife's needs, the wife should not continue to allow herself to be abused and beaten and cajoled by everybody else, including the husband, just because the husband is being taken care of by the wife. And we have to be careful at Trinidad and Tobago. We have to understand, not because FIFA is providing finances for us, it should allow us to let them bully us and do whatever they want, violate their own rules in coming with this normalization committee. All we are saying is, be fair to us, be just with us, give us the opportunity to govern ourselves, because we can do it.
Keith Look Loy, if I could get back to you, thanks for that thought, Clynt Taylor, as well. And of course, we have William Wallace with us, the deposed president also. But Keith Look Loy, if I could ask you the question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the issue is about the correctness of your position. I don't think the issue is really with the public of Trinidad and Tobago, with the issue of whether you all are in the right, because clearly there's something amiss here with the way this was done by FIFA. But again, people are saying, Keith, look, forgive me for sounding repetitive, that one, this is too high a price to pay. We're not going to be in World Cup qualification, which is probably our only source of revenue these days. Two, the fact is that no one is backing you. The CFU ain't backing you, because the CFU has shown no spine at all in any of these matters. And they will say, why should we show any spine? Because we know we will be punished by FIFA. We will be deprived of funding. Our football will suffer for that regard. And therefore, we have no choice but to put our tail between our legs and toe the line.
You're right. The CFU, the organization, the leadership of the Caribbean Football Union has been absolutely spineless. They are a creature of CONCACAF and FIFA. But at the level of individual national associations, for what it's worth, I am in touch with some of these leaders, presidential secretaries, known them for a very long time, and they're saying, and I'll be frank, they're saying, Keith, we agree with you. We want to support you. But you know it is, Keith. The point being that they're scared. Listen, I'll tell you something. My understanding is that at the Congress on the 18th, FIFA is going to change voting at the Congress from split ballot to voting. That's the way to keep tab on who is opposing you. And the way in which FIFA runs its business, very much like a cartel, take care of the enemies,
but that is
or those they see as enemies.
But that is the point, Keith.
The point is that we know we have support among the public. I think everybody who is fair-minded will say and will agree with you that what is being done is wrong. Now, to the question of the World Cup, and qualifying begins or is supposed to be played in October and November. I very much doubt that this will happen. I've already had an article in one of the daily newspapers calling for the postponement of qualifying, because the entire Caribbean, and in fact all of CONCACAF, is under COVID restrictions. We're seeing serious problems. The Caribbean Football Union just postponed the Caribbean Club Championship. I very much doubt that it will allow World Cup qualifying to proceed. That's my second point on that. My third point on this is to repeat myself. We are not deaf to the fact that Trinidad and Tobago people and Trinidad and Tobago players want us to participate in World Cup qualifying, and in fact, by extension, all international competitions. The FIFA has given a deadline. Clynt used an analogy, I will use mine. Someone comes in our house, claims to have put us out, and rejected us, and tells us that we have until the 6th of September to leave. If we don't leave, they care more about our family than we do, and therefore they're going to blow the house up with everybody inside it. A lot is going to happen, I honestly believe, between now and the 16th. We continue talking to people. William Wallace, he hasn't said it, has been in conversations, plural, with Kareem Highland, the captain of the national team. I talk to players, myself, the one that I still have a personal contact with, and we listen to our constituents. Yesterday, I had a conversation with several Super League members. I am the president of the Super League, so we're listening to what people are saying, because at the end of the day, we represent Trinidad and Tobago football. We don't represent ourselves. So we're not deaf to the national cause, as I said, and we take every day as it comes, but we're standing on the principle of fair play, which is the founding principle and the grand motto of FIFA, fair play. Well, we need some fair play house.
Let's pause, gentlemen. We have to take a commercial break, and we'll continue our dialogue with our three guests, Keith Look Loy, William Wallace, Clynt Taylor, members of the deposed executive of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. And indeed, where do we go from here as far as that is concerned? We're continuing our dialogue into the last half an hour of the show. Well, as we go to the break, here's a sunset from Waterloo Road in Karapichaima. Even with all of the heat of the discourse, let's give you some illumination as well with this image. And now for a couple submissions from Paul Jameson, who resides in Arima, showing us these images as well. Construction in the foreground and the sunset in the background, and there it is again. 7:28. We'll be back with our football dialogue when we come back after the break.
Ease the tension. Ease the tension. Ease the tension.
Great products, low prices, experienced staff can be found at one place. Mega Traders Home Improvement Center, building or remodeling your home. It's all here, from bathroom fixtures, power tools, everything for your home is at Mega Traders. Brooms, tools, plumbing supplies, kitchen sinks, door locks, electrical supplies, lawn and garden, barbecue grills, paintbrushes, and much more. Visit us at our 5,000 square foot Mega Traders Limited, 81 Superior Street, San Fernando. Call 652-4438. Shop online at ebuystt.com.
Gayatri Mata Astrology Center, world famous and skilled in all astrology, expert in removing any negative energies, evil spirits, and bad luck. Special guidance for broken relationships, jobs, finances, bringing back love, and solving problems. Immediate results and lifelong protection. 100% guaranteed, private and confidential. Call or WhatsApp 263-1851 or visit the office today.
Wall Street
kingpin Arthur Shaw was arrested today.
What if a billionaire stole your life savings?
You people are working stiffs, easily replaced.
What if you could take it all back?
Let's storm the castle together. Let's do it.
Yeah! It's two cops. They haven't done anything yet.
Relax. You relax. I'm out on bail. Go find your own spot.
Ben Stiller, Eddie Murphy.
Mr. Shaw, I think you're being robbed.
This is going to be good. Man, give me my gun back.
Tower Heist.
I'm moving forward every day, Jesus. I just let him lead the way every second, every minute, every hour of the day. I'm moving with Jesus every day, 24/7. With Jesus every day, 24/7. I'm moving with Jesus.
Online reporting, new from the TTPS. Now, you no longer have to visit a police station to make a report. The TTPS is making it easier to connect. With the TTPS app, you can share information on criminal activity, and you can do it anonymously. To make an official report, visit our website at ttps.gov.tt. Any suspicious or criminal activity, larceny, fraud, abuse of any kind, share the information on the TTPS app. But if you are the victim of a crime, visit our website and make an official report. Our offices will come to you. Let's work together to make Trinidad and Tobago a safer place. See something, say something. Transforming the TTPS through technology.
Make the breakthrough. So let me plant back the roads, calypso. But first, let me fix the local now. Then we got take off global now.
7:31 in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, let's continue into the last half an hour of the show in our football discussion with our three guests, William Wallace, Keith Look Loy and Clynt Taylor, who are certainly advocating standing their ground at this moment in the legal challenge against the global football body FIFA. William Wallace, just so we could understand clearly, FIFA, in communicating with the normalization committee, have advised that they would wish for this matter to be taken out of the local courts by September the 16th. Are you all considering withdrawing the matter, William Wallace?
We have until September the 16th for zero, and as Keith alluded to, that's a lot of time, and many things are happening between now and then. So we are, as Keith indicated, we are listening to Trinidad and Tobago. We are hearing two voices. One voice is saying to us, do not give up this fight. Another voice is saying to us, you are correct in fighting, but the consequences are too much. And these are the two voices that we are listening to. So we are going to weigh those two thoughts, and we are going to make a decision at the end of the day. Because here, let me just say this. And you have been using the word all morning and quite correct. You said the deposed executive. Yeah, forcefully removed from office. As far as you are concerned, that is what we are. Tell me something. If I am to accept that, and basically FIFA, that's FIFA's position. I have gone on the FIFA website over the weekend and listed as president is Mr. Robert Haddad. And as recent as a couple of days ago, when a missive came to the normalization committee, indicating that I should not communicate with FIFA. Anything I do should be done through the recognized body. If that is the case, and if we are to accept that, then really, who is taking action against FIFA?
Well,
FIFA is claiming that Robert Haddad is the president of Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, and Robert Haddad is not in court at this point in time with FIFA. It means that the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association is not in court with FIFA. So why would FIFA take action against the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association?
I hear you on that point, and I know when it comes to these matters of law, there are certain clear issues that need to be addressed and so on, and I appreciate that. But the mere fact, William Wallace, that FIFA has asked the normalization committee to get you all to withdraw this matter means that they're going to take action if you continue. That's the bottom line.
I am saying yes, action may be taken. And the question I just posed to you is what is this action going to be taken against? Who is this action going to be taken against? Who? And that's the question.
Well, the
I'm
answer,
not saying that action will not be taken, but who?
I hear you on that again, but the answer is, and I'm sure Keith Look Loy is champing at the bit to respond, but I'll continue the discussion with William before going back to Keith. Everyone knows that FIFA has the ultimate big stick in the most popular game in the world. As Keith Look Loy just said, people he talked to say, well, we support you on this, Keith. Well, boy, you know how it is. Because everybody knows the price is too high to pay. And therefore, in that context, do you feel that you are able to stand your ground in a matter like this when, yes, you're getting support, but nobody willing to stand up in defense of William Wallace, Keith Look Loy, and stand up and be counted because they don't want to be sanctioned by FIFA? It's as simple as that, William Wallace.
All right, but are we so that we agree that the price for justice is too high?
It appears to be so in this case. And just one point, William Wallace, before I go back to Keith Look Loy. You are being accused by the person who is the head of the normalization committee for using the TTFA letterheads improperly, that you have no authorization to do so. How do you respond to that?
As far as we are concerned, and that is why the matter is before the court, Fazeer. The matter is before the court because we have challenged the normalization committee. We have challenged FIFA decision to put the normalization committee in place. We have a constitution that says this is how a president of the FA is elected. That constitution has not been thrown out. It still exists. And we are operating based on that constitution. And the president is put into office by membership. And the president, my constitution says, has to be removed by the membership. So as far as we are concerned, we are acting based on that. So the term improper use, as I said, is a perspective. As a matter of fact, that is why the matter is before the court at this point in time.
All right, let me get to Clynt Taylor now before going to Keith Look Loy to again get another perspective. Clynt Taylor, from what we understand, there is an attempt to galvanize the constituent elements of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association to get enough support to force a change of position. Clynt Taylor, are you aware of this process? Can it stand up? Can the constituent members, a majority of those members, pass a motion to force the deposed executive from continuing with this action? Clynt Taylor, what is your understanding of this situation?
Well, we have had discussion with our attorneys concerning this. We've had discussion among ourselves concerning this. We, as both Keith and William stated before, have been in touch with our constituents, speaking with them and other concerned individuals concerning this matter. We have not been tone deaf in this issue. And we are aware of the moves afoot to have various signatures. As a matter of fact, some individuals called us. One particular individual had called at one time and spoken with both William and I on a conference and trying to clear up matters concerning whether or not they should sign the document. As a matter of fact, you would find that a number of the members support our actions wholeheartedly. They are concerned about FIFA's actions and FIFA's strong arm in this matter. Some has been telling us, look, go full force, because right now in Trinidad, we need the opportunity to be able to advance in the World Cup. But to do that, we needed the structures that Mr. Keith Look Loy's department had been part of in restructuring the entire football, which he has made some serious stride in. So we are aware of what has been taking place by some members, and I must say that most of the members who are pushing and they're beating the drum right now are some of the very individuals that didn't even support us during the elections in the first place, and has been taking the opportunity to be able to now try and see if they can open a back door and come in. We have to understand that we are not being paid for any of this that we are doing. The job that we have been elected to is not a paid job. We earn no money from it. But anybody who earns money from it, I can tell you something is wrong with it, because the Constitution does not allow that. So we are doing what we are doing, not because we want office, but because we were put here to fix the problem. And this is part of the whole problem of football. Going back years, where we've had one individual trying to take over the running of football and dictate what is taking place. We have to stand up as leaders and fix that. And this is what we are doing. And as long as we have the support of individuals who are telling us, go ahead, push forward, we will let good sense prevail. Nobody wants Trinidad and Tobago to get banned. It is not our intention. But as the president stated, we have until the 16th to make some decisions, and we have been making careful, prayerful at the decision and been considering all the views of everyone, and a decision would be made one way or the other.
Keith Look Loy, how does it advance the cause of Trinidad and Tobago football if you stand to that principle, you rail against the colonial attitudes, you get the quiet support, but those who don't have the backbone to stand up in other parts of the world? How does it help the cause of Trinidad and Tobago football if it is we are sanctioned in some way by FIFA as you try to stand your ground on principle?
But firstly, the rubber hitting the road, and over the course of these 2 weeks, we will give people remain quiet, those supporters. This politics changes by this country, certainly by the day. That's my first rule of response. I want to make a point there, right? As Clynt said, I have said, well, he has said, nobody wants Trinidad and Tobago football to be suspended. But we need to remember that we have examples of countries being suspended and bouncing back in a rip-roaring way. Mexico was banned for 2 years in the 1980s. Look at where they are now. The point I'm making is that while we don't want it, gives the opportunity to focus on yourself internally. I also want to make or to clear up a fallacy, misinformation that has been making the rounds. People are talking about we will be losing scholarships. That is not true. Scholarships are provided by colleges and high schools in the NCAA or in the high school conference. And the NCAA is part of the United States Soccer Federation. It doesn't fall under the FIFA. And I've spoken to more than one athletic director at the collegiate level in the United States, and they have all said, we have nothing to do with that. We follow our NCAA rules. We don't follow FIFA dictates. So the point I want to make is this. We have not been doing that well. When last have we been to the World Cup? Under the last administration, our ranking dropped from 45 to 106. The last administration withdrew us and essentially banned an entire age band of players from the Olympic tournament, which we have tried to revive and to give the opportunity. We started what we call Project 2026 for those boys that John Williams withdrew from the Olympic tournament, and to begin preparing them for the 2026 World Cup in North America, United States, Mexico, and Canada. So we had been in steps to take care of future generations and to prepare not for the World Cup, because we tend to be short-sighted. We had already initiated plans for the following World Cup. So for I find it farcical that on the FIFA website and in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a gentleman in around talking like he's the president of Trinidad and Tobago football, who has no history in football, has never run a club, has never run a competition that no one voted for, and is pretending to be the president of Trinidad and Tobago football. The elected president of Trinidad and Tobago football is William Wallace, and the coalition that put him in office basically is him. He has said, and I repeat, that they are telling us, we are with you. Stand and fight. We have to look at this situation with FIFA, but stand and fight. And we will make a decision in conjunction with them listening to the national discourse, but nobody else was voted into office. It is as if in the last election we had, somebody comes in and says, and takes us back to colonialism, we're going to bring in a governor. We once used to have a dictator called a governor, and he made all the sense to run Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody voted for him.
Okay, Keith Look Loy. If I could ask you to respond to that before we go back to William Wallace. Let's say before Robert Haddad, all of the football people, all the great pedigrees who would have played the game, who would have administrated the game, look at where Trinidad and Tobago football was, with the supervision and the guidance and the administration of all of these wonderful football people. So where is it that suggested that these fantastic administrators did this great gift, this great amount of good for Trinidad and Tobago football? So in essence, having someone with no football pedigree or having someone with a great football pedigree doesn't appear to make a difference in the administration of the game. Keith?
Oh, you're coming back to me?
Yes.
I mean, that is one point of view. Yes, that is one point of view. But I am talking about political process and democratic process. This is a quote unquote leadership that has been imposed on Trinidad and Tobago football. Let me tell you something. It is not only a matter of the individual. If we want to talk about golden era in Trinidad and Tobago football, is under Jack Warner, who answer to his God and his conscience, and if they have their way, to U.S. law enforcement. Right? He did what he did. He will have to answer for that. I am not here. Is any one of us here to defend or to argue his case? But this was the golden era. We participated in 6 World Cups. Yes, Trinidad and Tobago referees were in the World Cup. Assistant lines, central referee. And we were well respected in CONCACAF. But we have always had, I represented Trinidad and Tobago in the 1970s. And ever since that time, we have had problems with administration. What we are saying is that we have to find the solutions by working together under democratically elected leadership with a new vision. Football does not belong to any one of us. And when we came into office, and I'm saying we, that was the vision. In the technical committee, which I was responsible for, or am, because the technical committee has not been disbanded by FO or by the normalization committee. Do we seek to bring only people who were loyal to Wallace or Look Loy? No, we did not. We brought people who we thought could contribute to the technical evolution and administration of our football, because at the end of the day, the product that we want to give to the country and to the world is our football on field, and we started very well. We very quickly put in place an under-20 women's team that went off to the Dominican Republic, and for the first time in 5 years took us out of a CONCACAF tournament and into the elimination round. They got to the quarterfinal. The problem that we have in our football right now, you had the coaches on TV yesterday, on your show yesterday. That problem is not a problem made by William Wallace's administration. That is a problem entirely on the hands of the normalization committee. We put these people in place, money available in Zurich. They access the money to pay the office staff, and they bypass the staff that had been working assiduously for the first time in since I could remember, and I've been around football for a long time. We had all of our national team staffed. We had all of our national teams training. The first team took the battle flag and went into women's tournament, did well, and we were preparing for the tournaments. And then FIFA come and matter.
We have just a couple of minutes left, and let me leave it to the deposed President William Wallace, who, is it correct to say now, with the 2 weeks to go before the 16th William Wallace, that you and the other members of your team are between a rock and a slab of concrete in this matter, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't?
And Fazeer, in the fight for justice, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. And history is replete with people who have stood up, some would have been even killed for the position that they would have taken. But we need people to stand up. We can't continue to be saying all the time that, yes, this is right, but. And for you know, that is a situation that plagues Trinidad and Tobago right now, because, you know, our young people are so confused. We are trying to teach right and wrong, but every time we say something is right and we put a but to it, it brings confusion to our young people. The same young people that we are talking about, who we want to excel on the field of play. But you know, it goes beyond the field of play in terms of their mental preparation, in terms of the type of human being that we want to raise. So it happens on and off the field, and what happens off the field is just as important in terms of the development of our young people. And if we are saying to them off the field that this position is correct, but you can't take it, then we are really between a rock and a slab.
William Wallace, thanks very much for taking the time. Clynt Taylor, Keith Look Loy as well, for at least trying to help us to understand this situation, to clarify for us as well, gentlemen. We thank you very much for taking the time, and we'll see as we count down towards September the 16th what will happen in that regard. We'll hear a couple images from Macy.